Uchiha blood dripped, and reality cracked right down middle. A dead body dropped, and a dark soul woke up, bro. The ultimate sacrifice turned into the worst divine heresy. The hero went totally insane from the pain. Just 3 hours earlier, the sky was burning with hope. Rewind the tape in your mind and watch this disaster unfold. Catch your breath, because this is pure madness. Kawaki was completely unhinged, and his powers swallowed any logical limit. He triggered his black karma and shattered Master Sasuke's defenses with a brutal and cowardly strike. The impact turned the ground to dust, because the strength of an alien god forgives no mistakes. Boruto watched everything paralyzed, and the kid's soul just shattered right in front of you, man. Sasuke's lifeless body collapsed, and Boruto cried tears of pure despair. Grief swallowed the hero's heart, and he rejected that fate with everything he had. He gathered the last bits of chakra in his body and channeled that blind rage into one crazy idea. The vibe got super weird, and a red light started pulsing right in the middle of the chaos. Boruto tapped into Momoshiki's memories and forced a forbidden seal with his bloodstained hands. He tried to activate the time shinjutsu, but his mind was way too broken to control it. The technique went completely wrong, and the fabric of the universe tore like cheap paper. An anomaly was born from that glitch, and you're gonna freak out when you see what came out of it. A black and purple hole exploded on the ground and swallowed all the sound from the battlefield. The rift didn't take the hero to the past, but opened a door straight to the underworld. Souls were screaming from afar, and Kawaki stepped back because he felt this absurd and crushing presence. Time stopped entirely, and the blonde kid made a choice that will shock you. He reached his arm into the dark void and grabbed the densest energy he could find. Boruto wanted to pull out any kind of salvation, but he hooked the most dangerous entity in the afterlife. A thick shadow materialized in the real world, and two glowing red eyes shined in the cold darkness. The air turned freezing, and a macabre power made the earth shake with fear. The man GQ, Sharingan spun in the dark, and Boruto stopped breathing instantly. It wasn't a miracle, and definitely not a cure for his dead master. He summoned the soul of Itachi Uchiha, and the rogue spirit stared down the kid with a calm hatred. Crows flew out of nowhere, and the legendary prodigy realized he had returned to the world of the living. The ghost had no physical body, so he flew and dug his claws straight into Boruto's karma. The pain was surreal, and the hero screamed while a blood pact stained his skin. Their two minds fused in a blue and red flash that blinded even Kawaki himself. The dust settled, and Boruto's eyes opened with Itachi's Sharingan pulsing while a terrifying new power took control. The mind fusion almost blew the kid's brain apart. Boruto dropped to his knees and puked blood because the ghost's voice was echoing way too loud inside his head. The Uchiha prodigy analyzed every single memory the blonde had and perfectly understood the weight of that alien world. Itachi's presence was draining his life energy, but handed over some impossible wisdom in return for their survival. The hero's mindscape turned into a massive black lake, and the specter was standing on the calm waters. The ghost touched the karma mark and decoded the Otsutsuki biology in a matter of seconds, bro. He saw the wasted potential of that body and decided to force an immediate evolution so they wouldn't die right there. The most insane training session of all time began, and time outside totally froze for you to witness it. Itachi projected illusions of absolute agony straight into the protagonist's soul and demanded he master his own suffering. Boruto got beat down by giant crows and burned alive in fake dimensions because the spirit wanted to break his human limits. The pain forged a monstrous mental resistance, and the kid finally grasped the true dark essence of a ninja. He mixed his blue chakra with the rogue's red power, and the result of that math was crazy. Boruto's physical body stood up on the battlefield, and Kawaki felt a hard shiver down his spine. The kid's aura wasn't human anymore, and a storm of slicing wind shredded the rocks around them super fast. He wasn't just using pure karma, but a corrupted variation fed by the crow's heritage. The fusion spawned a completely new biology, and your villain took a step back for the very first time. The spirit whispered the next move into Boruto's mind, and the boy smiled in a really creepy way. He channeled the alien energy into his eyes and triggered a temporary dojutsu, fueled by the soul stuck to him. Black flames sparked on the blonde's hands, and that fire wouldn't go out for anything in this human world. The hero molded the Amaterasu like it was clay and forged a blade made of absolute destruction. Kawaki snapped in pure rage and charged in with his arm morphed into a giant red blade for the kill. He tried to slice the hero in half, but hit an invisible and unbreakable barrier right on the spot. Ghostly bones started sprouting from the ground and hugged the protagonist's body with brutal force. The karma's power fueled the phantom's chakra, and a macabre miracle happened right in front of you, man. A demonic exoskeleton took shape, and the structure wasn't golden or blue like usual. The kid awakened an unseen Susanoo forged from pure karmic energy and covered in hellish black flames. The giant creature had twisted horns, and the malice of that higher power corrupted the entire spiritual armor. The ground sank under the weight of this new god of war, and the sky went dark from the pressure of its monstrous aura. Boruto floated inside the monster's head, and Itachi's specter showed up right beside him to guide the way. They both raised their arms together, and the colossal hand of the Susanoo copied the motion with deadly precision. The black flame sword slashed the air insanely fast and obliterated the entire mountain standing behind the enemy. The shockwave popped the eardrums of anyone nearby, and Kawaki got swatted away like a rag doll. The villain got up from the rubble and spit out dust mixed with pure, uncontrollable hate. He maxed out his seal's limit, and silver marks covered his entire body all at once. Kawaki ripped dimensional rifts in the sky and summoned gigantic meteors of pure, deadly energy to crush the hero with zero mercy. The rain of destruction fell heavy on the earth, and the end of the world felt inevitable, bro. The blonde kid didn't even blink, and his partner triggered the hidden trump card of this fully divine fusion. The Susanoo opened its jaws and formed a dense dark sphere that swallowed the very light of the surrounding area. It was a strike blending the Rasengan with the ancient hatred of the Uchihas and the chaos of cosmic gods. The clash of those two annihilating forces lit up the planet and revealed a hidden terror lurking in the heavy clouds. A bizarre portal ripped open mid-explosion and sucked Boruto inside without a single warning. The parallel dimension looked empty, but a fatal trap was waiting for the boy in the cold shadows of that place. The hero found himself stuck in a cosmic web and realized another enemy was pulling the strings in that space. A demonic smile flashed in the dark, and the true identity of this monster will change your channel's history forever. The cosmic web choked the hero's neck, and the face in the dark finally showed up. It was a shadow made of Mamoshiki's own malice, and the creature wanted to hijack the kid's body. The monster was draining his life force, but Boruto wasn't alone in that pitch-black void. Itachi's ghost acted fast and sent a shock of reality straight into the blonde's mind. The Uchiha spirit burned the dimensional threads using the relentless heat of his power. Boruto took a deep breath and channeled all his remaining chakra right into his right eye without a second thought. The kid's Skara went pitch black, and the Jugen shined like a cursed star in the emptiness. He spotted the weak link in that alien prison and fired a direct hit at the flaw in reality. That glass space shattered into 1,000 pieces, and the fake dimension collapsed entirely on the spot. The hero got spit right back into real world and crashed like a meteor onto the dirt. The dust cleared up, and he realized he was standing in the ruins of his old home. Konoha was nothing but a graveyard of stones, and that destroyed scenery squeezed his heart, bro. Kawaki hovered in the air above the wreckage, and his sanity was completely gone this time around. The villain flexed a red aura, and the karma marks crawled all over his deformed face. He laughed in this twisted way because he thought he had buried his brother in that dirty coward trap. The inevitable clash kicked off again, and pure fury took over every single second of your screen. Boruto leaped out of the crater and clashed head-on with the enemy up in the village's cloudy sky. The impact of their two fists generated an absurd pressure wave and ripped the clouds right down the middle. The earth shook violently, and the sheer force cracked the tectonic plates of the entire planet. The fight turned into a brutal bloodbath, and neither of them gave a damn about their own lives anymore. The villain fired off deadly spikes from his skin, and the hero dodged using the Phantom Crow's insane speed. Kawaki messed with the gravity and slammed Boruto against the solid rock mountains with extreme violence. The crash snapped the blonde's ribs, but he ignored the physical pain and kept pushing forward with zero fear. The raw power gap was huge, and the enemy was swinging with the wrath of a god. Itachi warned him that brute force wouldn't be enough to win this sick and uneven war. The Spectre asked for partial control of the body, and Boruto took the gamble right away. The kid's veins popped on his face, and his blue chakra morphed into a thick black cloak. They needed one perfect opening, and their dark master plan is going to blow your mind. Boruto dropped his guard on purpose, and Kawaki fell straight into the kid's deadly trap. The enemy lunged in with a lethal strike, but stopped exactly 1 inch away from the hero's bleeding face. The blonde opened his right eye, and the alien power linked up with the pure Uchiha essence. A hypnotic light flashed from that divine eye and sucked the villain's consciousness into an endless abyss. The ghost projected his most cruel technique straight through our protagonist's special eyeball. They didn't just cast a regular illusion, but a multiversal Tsukuyomi built out of pure psychological torture. Kawaki got thrown into a reality where time ran sideways and his mind literally started melting down. He lived through thousands of deaths in a single fraction of a second, man. The sky in that illusion was blood red, and black moons kept crushing the enemy's body nonstop. The villain's brain got fried, and his real body dropped stiff on the cold dirt of Konoha. The technique was flawless, and victory looked guaranteed for our exhausted and battered hero. But an alien god doesn't die that easily, and the nightmare was just getting started in your script. Kawaki felt his soul getting wiped out and triggered a completely suicidal and desperate defense mechanism. He linked his own mind with the sleeping monster resting in a distant hidden dimension. The villain forced a brutal summoning and pulled the 10 Tails straight into his own stomach. His body started going through a freakish mutation, and his flesh ripped open from the inside out. White energy leaked from the enemy's eyes, and Itachi's illusion shattered like cheap glass. The presence born right, there wasn't Kawaki anymore, and the pressure pinned Boruto to the ground. The monster's ultimate evolution silenced the whole world, and the hero finally grasped the scale of the problem. The new god of extinction opened his third eye, and the total annihilation of Earth was officially declared. Kawaki's body stopped shaking, and a white divine aura lit up the dead village. He became the absolute Jinchuriki of that monster, and his presence simply deleted gravity in the whole area. The boulders floated up in the air, and the ground caved in because the planet was rejecting the supreme being. The new god opened his eyes, and his pure hatred froze our hero's blood bro. The villain vanished from Boruto's sight and popped up behind his back in a split second. Kawaki kicked the blonde in the ribs, and the impact broke the sound barrier like 100 times over. The hero went flying and smashed through 5 solid stone mountains with his own bruised body. The Uchiha ghost tried to heal the damage and warned him that death was knocking at their doorman. Itachi whispered in the kid's mind and explained that their current strength wouldn't even scratch that alien freak. They needed to erase the borderline between their two souls and forge a completely new and bizarre existence. The deal was super risky, and Boruto could lose his own identity forever if he messed up. But the blonde smiled through the blood and accepted the extreme sacrifice without a second thought. The kid closed his eyes and handed the keys to his mind over to the rogue ghost. The hero's blue chakra collided with the Uchiha's red power, and those two energies totally merged. A spiritual shockwave swept the battlefield and blinded Kawaki for a few crucial moments. The veil of death got ripped apart, and the laws of the universe had to bow down to this miracle. The smoke cleared, and the figure standing there wasn't human and definitely wasn't a freak. Boruto's body hovered in the air, wearing a cloak of pure black light speckled with shining stars. The karma marks morphed into white tattoos, and his right eye radiated an absolute freezing chill. They were born again, and the stellar crow god took total control of your screen. Wings made of crystallized darkness sprouted from the hero's back, and every flap warped space itself. The air got heavy, and Kawaki actually felt fear because the kid's aura was canceling out his divine energy. The celestial crow didn't need hand signs anymore, and his grip over matter was absolute. You've never seen a power level so absurd and elegant in your whole life, bro. The villain lost his mind and gathered all the 10 Tails chakra into one gigantic sphere of doom. That energy ball tore the sky open and dropped down to wipe out Boruto and the rest of the continent. Kawaki screamed like a lunatic, and that attack looked like the definitive end to our epic story. But the new entity just lifted a single finger, and a dark miracle happened right in the enemy's face. The apocalyptic strike stopped dead in the air, and the monster sphere started shrinking fast with no logical explanation. The Stellar Crow's power devoured the raw energy and turned all that destruction into just a gentle breeze. Kawaki's eyes popped wide open, and he couldn't believe his ultimate attack just vanished into the void. The hero blinked and teleported right in front of the fake god with terrifying coldness, man. The dark entity punched straight through the villain's chest barehanded and grabbed the beast's core. The blow didn't cause physical pain, but it burned Kawaki's soul with the eternal Uchiha fire. The villain tried to fight back, and the hero just tightened his grip on the enemy's life force. The malice of the Ten Tails screamed out loud, and the macabre sound echoed through every corner of that dimension. Boruto yanked his arm back and ripped a massive chunk of divine energy right out of the villain's body. Kawaki dropped to his knees and puked out dark sludge while his power level tanked terrifyingly fast. Victory was basically written in stone, and the hero got ready to deal the final blow and end the war. Then the enemy's body started laughing on its own, and his tone of voice shifted out of nowhere. Kawaki's face melted down, and his skin took on a pale and extremely bizarre color. The original karma mark throbbed on the villain's back end. A much worse nightmare woke up from the cosmic grave. His left eye changed, and that icy gold color revealed the true identity of who was pulling the strings. The kid wasn't fighting his brother anymore, but the living consciousness of Isshiki fully resurrected. The voice of the Supreme Creator ripped out of the vessel's throat, and the entity smirked at our hero. The alien bloodline master took the wheel, and the weight of the entire universe pressed down right then and there. Boruto and Itachi stared into total ruin, and the stellar god realized the real challenge was just getting started. The monster raised his hand, and the whole sky collapsed right on top of their heads. The entire sky crashed heavy on our hero's shoulders, and gravity crushed the dirt of Konoha. Isshiki laughed, using Kawaki's voice, and the pressure of his chakra sliced the wind like invisible blades. The alien god wasn't playing around, and he wanted to delete this universe anomaly on the spot. Boruto took a deep breath inside that black armor, and Itachi's ghost prepped the last trick up his sleeve. The villain shrunk down whole mountains and hurled the invisible chunk straight at the kid's chest. Boruto's divine eye flared up, and he saw the microscopic attacks right before the fatal impact. The black flame sword moved on its own, and the stellar crow deflected the deadly rocks insanely fast. The dust kicked up again, and Isshiki popped out of nowhere for a straight punch to the blonde's face. Itachi whispered in the hero's mind, and his crazy plan was the only way out without killing his brother. They needed to carve out the alien soul and leave Kawaki's body in one piece during the process. The ghost burned up the rest of his own spiritual energy and forged a new version of the Totsuka sword made of pure karma. The sealing blade caught dark fire, and the legendary weapon was ready for the ultimate judgment man. The supreme monster summoned black rods and impaled them through our protagonist's wings with zero mercy. Boruto felt an absurd amount of pain, but he didn't back down a single inch because victory was right there. The hero channeled the light from his left eye, and the ghost's energy fused with the Otsutsuki power in one single swing. The mystic sword grew to an absurd size, and its dark glow wiped out the sun on that battlefield. Isshiki snapped in pure rage and dropped a dimensional cube the size of city to crush the kid. The dark mass plummeted from the sky, and certain death looked like the tragic end-to-your video bro Boruto gripped the sword with both hands, and his entire body turned into pure, slicing black light. He flew straight up and split the unbreakable cube right down the middle with one clean and perfect slash. The villain was left in absolute shock, and the hero seized that one opening to finish the war for good. The kid dashed faster than light, and the impact of his body shattered the enemy's ribs. Boruto shoved the mystic sword right into his brother's chest, and the dark fire swallowed the alien mark. Kawaki screamed in agony, and the horrifying sound echoed across the whole devastated and empty planet. The blade didn't cut flesh, but it grabbed Ishiki's filthy soul with a brutal and divine force. The fake god tried to escape the trap, and his essence was forcefully ripped straight out of the vessel's body. Itachi's ancient power sucked the monster into a spiritual gourd, and the absolute seal locked shut forever. The cosmic nightmare ended right there, and the cursed mark faded from Kawaki's skin in an instant. His brother's body collapsed on the ground, and the kid was breathing normally despite all the severe injuries. The world stopped shaking, and the sky opened a hole for the sunlight to hit the broken ruins. The Stellar Crow armor started dissolving into tiny pieces, and the hero fell to his knees from extreme exhaustion. The colossal war was finally over, and our protagonist saved the Earth from a guaranteed game over man. The Blood Pact collected its toll, and the mind fusion split apart right there on the dirty ground. The ghost of the legendary rogue showed up in front of the kid, and his form was looking super transparent and weak. Itachi looked at the blonde with a proud smile and tapped the hero's forehead with 2 fingers. The spirit gave thanks for the honor of the fight, and his body turned into hundreds of glowing crows that flew into the beyond. Boruto was left alone in the middle of the wreckage, and peace ruled the planet after so much suffering and spilled blood. He looked down at his knocked-out brother and felt that the promise of salvation was successfully kept. But the hero's right eye kept glowing bright, and he stared out at the distant stars in the clear sky. A massive shadow shifted on the moon, and a new divine seal started pulsing on the boy's neck. The true god of the universe opened his eyes, and Earth just popped up on the radar of the final and darkest threat. If you enjoyed this insane story, then drop a like right now and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. There are way more epic videos just like this one on the channel for you to binge and blow your mind with these fanfics. We're in this journey together, and I'll see you in the next video.